feel like I'm flying.
Happy. If you just joined us on a hot mic, she feels like she's flying.
I
And
do.
she is Angela. And Bret, our producer, is over there laughing because the timing of everything for the lights to go off. As you were telling us about drinking your mushroom coffee this
Yeah.
morning that tastes like mud.
It
And
does.
then as she puts on her headphones, it makes you feel like you are flying. Is that in
Yeah.
context? Am I getting it right?
Yeah.
Letting people join us here as we get started. It is noon. It is Hump Day. And it is not only Hump Day, it is International Women's Day, which is a really cool day for you to be a guest. I want to thank everybody for joining Coochies Conversation. Thank our sponsor, Done Right Studios and Revolution Coffee. This is Angela. Angela, tell me about let's start with your page, which is how I found you.
Yeah.
And I found you reading it, and I thought to myself, this is someone I would like to have coffee with, someone I would like to be friends with. So if you can tell us how the name of your page and how it got started.
Well, it's kind of a long story. I moved here from Oklahoma and didn't know anybody. Moved here with a family, had to break up, and then found myself alone I was here for about 2 weeks and then alone. And so through a bout of depression, I decided I wasn't going down that way. And so I decided to reach out and make some new friends. So I thought, I wonder if anybody wants to have coffee. That's a safe way. There are tons of coffee places here. And so I definitely took note of that and decided to start a coffee group. And so I reached out to one of the local pages here and made a post. Would anybody like to have coffee? I didn't know that it would explode, and it did. And I couldn't keep up with how many people were commenting. And a lady said, "You really need to start a page." And I thought, no, I don't want to manage a page. And after about 3 weeks, I was like, okay, I'm going to start a page. I couldn't keep up with everyone. So I thought, well, what am I going to name it? I don't know anything I don't know anything about anyone here. And I thought, well, I'm having coffee with people I don't know. So hence coffee with people I don't know. So that's how the page got started. And through that, I worked out of depression really quickly and found out that I wasn't alone. There were a lot of people that were feeling alone and lost, and there were a lot of tears over coffee that I didn't expect. I made a lot of really solid friendships. So it's been great.
I love the way you phrase that. I reached out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when someone's going through, and I don't know if you've watched, when we have the therapist here, we have our favorite therapist that shows up once a month.
Nice.
He's a licensed therapist. And people, when they're going through crisis like that, it's what they turn to.
Right. Yeah.
And, you have these options of what you can turn to. People tend to turn to what's really easy.
Sure. Yeah.
You reached out, which is an even bigger step.
Not easy.
Which is so awesome.
Not
It's
easy.
one of the rereasons why I said to myself, I want to be friends with her. I want to get to know who she is. Can't do that. Because I'm the one that will cry with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're awesome. Just in the few
Thanks.
minutes of sharing that, being brave when you're going through something like that, and not isolation is the worst thing.
Yeah, and it didn't feel brave. It felt terrifying because I was in the Quad Cities and I thought, I have been to communities that have pages like this, and they can be a little volatile sometimes. The community can fight a lot. And I thought, I wonder what kind of negativity I'll get from this. And not a single person. It was encouraging, alarming, sad, exciting, all of these things wrapped into one, to note that so many people were just looking for a friend or someone to talk to. And then sitting down in front of people over a cup of coffee where you can't hide behind the computer screen. You're looking into someone's eyes and you're really having to either relate to them or sit and listen to who they are as a person. It opens up your capacity to love, which is what heals your depression. So it was intense. It really was at first, but I'm enjoying it.
This is so awesome. I'm so glad you said yes to this invitation. You said that it's out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And hopefully you're like everybody else that sat there and says, when it's over, I want to come back again.
Yeah.
And you asked me what kind of questions you're going to ask.
I did.
And
Yeah,
everyone
I
asked the
needed to
question,
know.
and my response was, I'm going to do a you on you.
Right.
And because you
And
do,
you did.
you take that time to get to know someone and hear their story.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And just in a couple minutes, we got to hear what I like to call nuggets, a gold nugget. So thank you for sharing
Thank
that.
you.
You have kids?
I do. I have 3 kids, which was one of my main reasons to not stay depressed. They were also in a new community. They didn't know anybody. It was a difficult process that we were going through, and I needed them to watch their mom get up and go again, because I didn't have that so much growing up, and so in retrospect, you can look back and say, well, if I would have had that different, I would be different right now. And so I want my kids to have the things that I didn't have. So, yeah.
Well, and they are watching much more than they're listening.
They are.
So you've given them a platform, a really solid foundation.
I hope so.
For how they're going to react and respond when life decides to do a life.
Just be real. Yeah. When life gets real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Definitely.
yeah, that's awesome. How old are they?
So now my oldest is 20. I say kids, they're always going to be my kids. And my middle child just turned 18, and then my youngest is 15. So they're watching during a really critical stage in life. We're teaching them how to make decisions, how to move forward from tragedy or upset when things don't work out the way you thought they should. And hopefully they've watched me. I haven't been a perfect parent, but hopefully they've watched me crawl back up again. So
I have a book that was given to me, and I can't tell you the title exactly, but it was along the lines of The Perfect Mom versus the Happy Mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And none of us are going to be the perfect
Right.
mom. She doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So.
I think one of the biggest things that I've learned in parenting, especially now that my kids are teenagers and young adults, is being really open and honest with them when you make a mistake, going to them and apologizing. That's not a big popular thing, right? Especially my kids were raised religiously for a long time, and so it's not a popular thing to go in and kind of bow down to your children and tell them that you apologize or mom did something wrong, but we can learn from this. And so you're teaching them how to set healthy boundaries in the future with their relationships, which is really important. So, yeah.
Well, and also accountability for your actions.
Accountability.
Responsibility. Yes, I made the mistake. Holding myself accountable.
Mom was wrong.
Yeah. And
let's move forward.
Right, exactly.
Or even asking how it affects them. That was a really big challenge for me as a parent because, you're the parent and you don't typically level with your children very often because you're in the position of teacher. But a good teacher really will, like you said, seek accountability for their actions, for their children's actions. And I think that creates a better adult.
To a degree, I think when we do it right, we are learning from them as much as they are learning or teaching us.
Yeah, I read this thing.
Teaching them?
Yeah, we're teaching them. They're teaching us too. But I don't remember where I read this or if I heard it, but your kids don't know that they're actually watching you grow up too. So you never stop growing and you never stop learning. And that was something that I really shared with my kids is like, hey, I'm new to you being 5. I'm new to you being 10. I'm new to you being 20. Let's work on this together. So, yeah.
And I'm new to being this age.
Yeah,
it's
same
the first
here.
time I've been here.
Right.
So, yes. And it is, forgiving yourself for your own mistakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes is harder than. And so, again, reaching out. Mm-hmm. You, again, I just kudos for that.
And sometimes
the way
it's
you
hard to go
handled
to
it.
a therapist.
A move and a change like that. And I'm sorry, I didn't, what did you say about therapists?
And sometimes it's hard to just reach out and go to a therapist because I think that it should be something that everybody does. I think everyone could benefit from having a mentor, a therapist, best friends, a squad, people behind them. But sometimes it's still kind of taboo. It's seen as, you have like this guilt. I should be able to do everything on my own. I should be able to walk this life alone and well and not mess up and be perfect. And like you said, there's no perfect. And everyone's standard of perfect is different. So sometimes just getting in front of another person and listening to what they have to say and realizing that, wow, they've got some challenges that I never even would have imagined in my own life, and mine were bad. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of healing to be had there, and it opens the door to someone going to therapy. It feels good to talk,
Yes, it does. And that's why, having this conversation, conversations that matter is kind of how I like to hashtag it.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that when women get together, we really could solve all the problems of the world.
There you go. Yeah, I like that.
As we laugh our little laugh.
I like that,
because us ladies, and we
as
look,
the
I look
men
at
over
my
there
producer
get real quiet.
I haven't pulled out my soapbox, so we're doing good. When you're doing your page and meeting people, is there anybody that you were completely surprised with when you walked into that time with them?
So the very first person, she's probably going to kill me, Robin, that I met, I wrote a whole review, and I decided first to do the page about the person that I was having coffee with, not about, I had coffee, this was such a great time, look at me. It was more like, I had coffee with this person, and I went in a spirit of disagreement, what I thought would be disagreement with their core values. And by the time the conversation was over, I was like, wow, I totally get that. I get where you're coming from. That breaks my heart too. I want the world to be better for people like that too. And it was just an incredible interview. And she really ended up being a good friend. I love her. And we were unlikely friends, different backgrounds, adult backgrounds, raised both in a religious background. I stayed more to that end. She did not. And yet we came together, and we both cried. And it was my first time having coffee with anyone. And I thought, wow, this is something. I think we're on to something here. And she had a pair of glasses that were hearts. And so we took some selfies with the heart glasses on. And I thought, how beautiful to see people through the lens of love and understanding rather than judgment and a critical heart. And it really, not only was this a launching pad for healing for me, but it was a good, healthy change in my life that needed to happen, that my kids needed to see a less judgmental person, which of course I didn't realize I was until I started having coffee with other people that didn't think like me. So, yeah.
I really believe people are more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
But it takes that sitting down or just even that common experience, that bonding.
Yeah. And sharing things that were really intimate that you would never share with a stranger. And we're, hours into the conversation, and we're like, wow, we met at 9:00 this morning. Is it already, 1:30 or 2:30 in the afternoon? And just thinking, wow, I never would have opened up to a stranger like this, but look at me and look at them. And I remember one of the things she said is she was like, I never thought I'd be friends with someone like you, but here I am, and I want to know you, and I want to be your friend. And I was like, I want to know you too, and I want you in my life. It was really neat.
So I'm not the only one that says to myself, I want to be her friend.
I'm very humbled. It's humbling.
You got it going.
I hope that people want to be my friend, because that's what I need. Yeah.
And you came here from Oklahoma. Is that where you're born and raised?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Oklahoma in the Wichita Wildlife Refuge in the mountains. So Oklahoma is the Great Plains, but we have a mountain range that I was blessed to be able to grow up in and hike my whole life. And my kids were raised hiking and fishing and kayaking. And so,
it's
a great place.
When we're not on air, help you, if you haven't already, find areas around here, because Iowa is beautiful.
I
the
love
Driftless
that.
Zone. If you're not familiar with that, it's just a little north of here.
Okay.
Absolutely gorgeous caves, hiking.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Yeah.
You landed in a
nature.
really magical place for all of that good stuff.
Well, one thing about Iowa is the people. The people are so nice. So nice. I'm super impressed with the people here in the Midwest. Yeah.
Iowa nice. That one we definitely claim and run with.
You should.
I'm new to Iowa. I was born on the other side of the river.
Okay.
I was born in Illinois, and my kids were born in Illinois, and I'm the only one that's crossed over so far.
Okay.
we were talking yesterday, and I learned more about you just in a few minutes, like today, which is really cool. And that not only is this something you do, one person can make a difference, which I'm a big believer in, and you are living that also. It's kind of doing, I joked with someone yesterday about skin diving suits. And that if you put on a skin diving suit, you kind of look like a superhero, like the lady in The Incredibles. You know, you kind of wear it
I may not
town.
look as good.
Oh, I don't know.
But
You get the little cape on, you know, we could get the towel behind us and go around town in our skin diving suits like superheroes.
We need a logo.
And so, in which case, you have some of that superhero stuff going on. You run a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And if you could tell us the name of your nonprofit and then how that started.
It is called Mission World, and we started in Oklahoma, picking up. I saw a need in the community, and it was an area of our community where people were moving out of and away from. And I told my kids one day, I was like, I was driving through this area, and all the kids are outside by themselves, like from ages 3, 4, 5 to 18, 19, 20. And so it was it was alarming to me, because when kids that are so young get with kids that are older or young adults, some really tragic things can happen there. And I just felt this tug on my heart to fix it. You have to fix this. And I was like, these aren't even my kids. What am I going to do? And so I told my kids, we're moving over there. And they said, what? Are you kidding me? There's gunshots over there all the time. This is crazy. And I was like, no, this is our mission field. We're moving. We're going to move into this neighborhood. So I called a friend.
Can you hear this lady? Can you really believe her?
It was crazy. Everyone thought it was crazy. So we moved. Yeah, I called some friends of mine that had a lot of real estate, and I was like, do you have a house over there? And they were like, yeah, but you can't move there. I said, you have to let me rent this house. And so they did, very, very cheaply. We moved there, and we started a reading program with the police officers. There was a lot of... there still is a lot of negative stuff going on in our communities between police and citizens. And so I just wanted to fix that. I didn't want to see that come to our town. I didn't want to see the fear and the danger come to our town. And so I started a reading group. It was called Read to Me, with our police officers would come and read to the kids and hang out, and our police chief would come hang out. And it was wonderful. And we would pick up the kids on Saturdays and go kayaking or hiking or fishing, and then we'd take them back home. And we had volunteers that drove all the way from Arlington, Texas, just to drive the buses for us. It was amazing. Wow. And then as my kids got older, they really needed more of my time. Yeah. It was pretty interesting. And so the organization started out with a man, Bob Bigham and Steve Tiemann, and they had done some water projects in Sierra Leone and then came back to the States, and it just kind of started dwindling out. There wasn't a lot going on, and we literally bumped into each other at a building that I was looking at and he was looking at to start another community project. And I said, who are you? And he said, well, who are you? And he's a really, really tall guy, and I'm like 4 foot nothing. And so it was a really unlikely meeting. I was like right here to his belly button. I was like, hey, what are you doing? And he said, who are you? And so I told him what we were doing, and he said, I think you're the one. And I thought, what are you talking about? And he said, we need you to take over this organization. And I went from there. Then I went to be a translator in Honduras. And I had gone to the Amazon jungle with a friend to spend some time with the tribes and translating and doing some mission work there, and came back and thought I was going to move to Ecuador to live in the Amazon with the tribes. That was my dream. And I went shortly after I came back from that trip, and I had it in my head that my kids and I were moving there. It was over. That was my destiny. And I had a group ask if I would go and translate for them in Honduras. And I thought, well, sure, why not? They were paying for my trip. I went, and I thought, how can you see all of this and turn away? You can't. And I bargained with the Lord. That was my it's just my faith. And I was on the top of a orphanage one day. It was our last day there, and I just remember thinking, if you're there, please do not leave me here. I want to go to Ecuador, but give me a sign if this is where I'm supposed to be. And it was as hazy as could be, foggy as could be, and I saw 2 little feet coming around the bend of a mountain down a dirt road with no shoes on. And as they got closer, the fog lifted and I could see their tattered clothes, and I just cried. I got on my knees and cried. Got on my knees and cried, and I was like, no, I don't want to be here. And 2 weeks later, I came back to the States, packed a backpack, and went back and just went alone and started meeting people, the police, the mayors, the council, everybody that would work with me. And we've built a good community partnership there with 38 different villages. And the government pays for the roofs on our shelters, and we now build shelters for families. And we started raising money, having bake sales on the sides of businesses. And then I think people were just like, look at this mom with her kids, we have to help her. And so they did. Our community really rallied around, and they've stuck with us. We've had donators from all the way from Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Davenport. We're taking our first group from Davenport, and I've only been here a year. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So tell me again how people can find you, if it's on social media.
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page called Mission World, super easy, or you can find me on Facebook, Angela Stone, and it's really easy to connect with me. I love people, so I accept all friend requests unless they get weird. But
me too.
I will block you.
Don't slide up in her DMs.
Don't want to, but.
It's not a dating site.
Yeah, it's not a dating site. I'm a single person, and I love that about my life too. I thought that was just the worst thing that could happen, And then as this year has gone by, I thought I really love this because it allows me so much free time to give back to the community and do what I love doing without questioning anyone or having to be questioned. It was I'm happy for all married people. I love you guys, but I don't want to be one. I don't think so. It's been really empowering to just like fall into my calling and be able to live it to the fullest.
And everything seems I want to use the word serendipitous. I don't really believe in coincidence.
Yeah, I don't either. I think it was all just meant to be, and
predestined.
Yeah, it's meant to be.
That's cool. So Mission World on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Missionworld.org on the internet? Or?
Just Mission World on Facebook. We have a website that got taken over, and we have to redo the website. So we've been in Honduras for 9 years now.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize it had been that long, and a Facebook memory came up, and I went to share it, and I was like, this was last year, and I was like, 8 years. Wow, I'm getting old. That's what I thought.
Well, and I have a friend who invests in buying land in Honduras. Oh. And when he told me about this, I mean, like I said, like Civil War Honduras, militia, machete type Honduras.
When I went, it was the murder capital of the world. I did not know that for 2 years.
It's amazing what we will do when we.
And somebody said, "Are you crazy?" And I said, "No." And they said, "How do you sleep there?" And I said, "Really well. I don't understand." And I've never had any issues. It's been, I think that's how you know when you're walking in your destiny is you don't get tripped up as much, So.
I like to think when it's easy, it's meant to be.
Yeah,
and translating that, things just fall into place, like you said, and meeting the right people.
It's been hard work, but it falls into place.
And it doesn't happen in isolation.
It doesn't. Yeah, that was the thing. Had I not reached out that day, I don't think I would have come out of my shell and started attending the church that I attend now. I was so hurt by church that I didn't want to go back. And I met a group of people that were just so free and loving. And I thought, I wouldn't be here right now and somebody invited me to coffee there. They have coffee every day after church and everybody just chats. And I thought, this is amazing. Reaching out, whether you, I think it adds, I think reaching out is just part of being a whole person. You have to be humble and genuine enough and prideless enough to just admit that you're not perfect and you need help.
And I get that about the church thing. I also have
there's a lot. That's a really sad thing, and it happens all the time. all the time.
I had to find one because that community is nice. And if it's hard to find community, it's nice to find a community of good people.
Yeah.
So I actually found a church and God put me across the street from the church. So it
Isn't
made
that
it,
funny?
they could see if I was so they knew. You couldn't lie about where you were on Sunday morning. But this was a church that was run by elders.
Okay.
And didn't have a pastor.
Oh, okay.
So that allowed me to feel comfortable going in and tiptoeing in and getting, up to my ankles, eventually all the way in the water at the church. So I can relate to that very much.
I think it's something that we
We're
failed to talk about.
He's giving me the 5.
He's
He's
like,
not waving high.
I think it's something that we failed to talk
minutes.
about, though, is the true issues in the church and how people really do get hurt. And I think that that's really part of being a truly loving person, is being able to admit or sit across the table with somebody and be like, I'm really sorry that happened to you. That sucks, if for lack of a better word, sometimes not a better word. And I'm not that way, and I want to be your friend, just like you are, how you are. And we found a place like that, so we're happy.
Well, and there's that judgmental thing.
The legalism and the judgment is the things that can push a person to do in their lives. And it is so sad. It's so sad.
Yes, I agree with you. Jesus is love. Live and let live. There's a bar that I refer to out of Columbus Junction that when you walk in, and it's even on the doors, there's empty chairs and no judgment. Is literally what it says on the doors. No wonder so many people are willing to walk into that bar. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Yeah. And, I think it was Paul that wrote, I'm all things to all people so that I might save some. And to me, I can't really save anybody, but I can be your friend. And sometimes that allows them the strength to get up and fight for themselves. And that's what happened to me. That's what people in the Quad Cities did for me. And I'm super thankful for that.
Well, and I do believe love wins.
Yeah,
love is the most powerful, and hate sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does. Don't be hateful.
It doesn't seem that hard, but people live what they see. Kids live what they see. Yeah. You got traumas. You got a lot of things going on. Yeah. So if you can come from that place of love and not judgment, in spite of a person's behavior, it just makes life a little easier.
Yeah, and saying sorry when I'm wrong, that's a big deal too. Yeah.
It gives room for that next person to be able to say, I suck sometimes.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I definitely do.
There's that song, I Am Human. I really like that song.
Yeah.
So want to thank you for coming out, spending time with me, Angela. Angela Stone on Facebook if you want to make her your friend. Also, Mission World on Facebook if you would like to learn more about her nonprofit and how you're helping people live what is a healthier, hopefully more
and
sustainable life.
And we're a place for everyone. We're not just a place for church. There's a reason why I'm a separate organization. We are for everyone. If you have a talent and you can make a difference in the world and you want to be a part of what we're doing, come on.
That's your missions trip.
That's it.
And so when do you go? Once a year in the summer?
We'll be going 4 times this year, and then I've been as many as 10. So, I try to make it as easy for people to go as possible.
You see me start to think, I have friends that go to Africa, and they go about the same amount of time. So now I'm thinking, I wonder if Africa and Honduras can cohabitate, because he's a builder.
No
and he
problem.
goes and he builds, like his last trip to Africa, they built not only the school, they built all the desks.
We just opened up a school. Yeah, I forgot last year.
So, you guys, you're friends in spirit already, friends in heart already, so maybe I can help you make that connection with him. That's their men's ministry.
That would be awesome.
They do that. So the construction,
everyone's
that's what
welcome.
He does. So, meant to be. I hope you will accept my friend request.
Definitely.
And we'll have coffee sometime when we're not doing a podcast, because Bret is waving us down to keep us down to 30 minutes. Again, I want to thank Bret, our sponsor, Sonny, Bret, our producer, Sonny, who's producing as well, Done Right TV Studios. When you came in, you saw the e-bikes out there.
Yeah, I
they
did.
look pretty cool, don't they?
I'm going to have to bring my son to come look at some of those.
Well, and I think you might be able to get one on a plane to Honduras as well, and cover a lot of ground
Yeah.
faster with one of those.
Those roads are real bumpy over
There's some with the
we need
thicker.
we need something like that.
The thicker tires, and you saw the security, the internet, anything like that.
Yeah.
People can hit us up here, and Revolution Coffee.
That's right.
And Angela Stone, coffee with people I now know.
That's right.
Queens have risen.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, joining us for coffee. Next week, I have Ms. US 2023.
Oh, hey.
She was crowned about a month ago, so she'll be in.
Exciting.
Week after that, I have the very first female firefighter in Rock Island, Illinois.
Oh, that is so cool.
She's retired now. She'll be joining us by Zoom.
Super
So
neat.
her name is Sue. That'll be really cool. So appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. See you next week. Peace out.
Bye.